What day comes after Monday and on the eve of another epic Dungeon Run Wednesday? That's right, Tuesdays mean time for the Dungeon Rundown. Thank you all so much for being here and also for putting up with my voice, hence my tea. I see I am Robin Nicole, Dyson Caves, TK421, Kamikaze Reaper. Hi, Civilicious. I love your name. Thank you guys all so much for being here. You rock my socks. After all the high emotion and stakes in last week's episode of the Dungeon Run, the stage is set for a showdown of ginormous proportions. Here to wet our whistles for a fantasy battle bigger and in some instances smaller than the Hatfields versus the McCoys, welcome the three-quarter orc standing in the eye of the storm, Ugo, Ron Ogden. Welcome.
Hi.
Yay.
Hello.
Thank you for being here, and I love your shirt.
Well, thank you. It's one of our own.
Yes.
Can I get up and show
Yes.
you? Can I show
Yeah,
the-
model it, baby.
Oh, yeah. Oh, with the wiggle, too.
Yeah, they're nice. They're good.
If that doesn't sell t-shirts, I don't know what will. That's beautiful. Thank you for that.
Thank you
could
for
look
that.
like
Thank
this.
you. Hey.
And I know you're looking at his beautiful face right now, but there's a wise saying that goes, of all the liars in the world, sometimes the worst are your own fears. Now, for some reason, I think our next guest read this one and
Whoa.
maybe saved it for Civ. Not you.
Oh, okay.
James Quillis.
Whoa,
AKA
wait.
Morgan Peter Brown.
Okay,
is
wow,
here.
wow. You just made me go through
Yay.
like a vortex of self-exploration there for
Yeah,
a
that was
moment.
brutal, huh?
Woof.
That should be our subtext for the Dungeon
Vortex
Rundown.
of self-exploration.
Vortex of self-exploration.
That's right.
I love it so much. Persephone says, rock that flock.
Rockin' the flockin'.
Rocking that flock.
Indeed.
Last Wednesday had everyone who tuned in riding that, what did we say, vortex
Of self-exploration.
Vortex of self-exploration,
TM.
riding that wave of emotion.
Copyright Morgan Peter Brown.
As the heroes of Bingle made their way in front of the king. Now, anyone who knows good etiquette knows that you never are supposed to show up to someone's home empty-handed.
Right.
So maybe things would have gone a little differently if you'd have brought a gift instead of like a dragon scale or a necromancy spellbook. So Morgan and Ron, if you got a redo, what would you have brought the king to soften him up for your big ask?
Rubber-tipped crossbow bolts.
Well, that might have gone over
That would have
better
gone a little better.
for Ugo,
How
for
about
sure.
Nerf guns?
I feel like that's for everybody, though. What would you have just brought for the king?
Oh, okay, fine.
I thought about it, giving him the cannon, the hand cannon.
Ooh.
I thought about actually doing it
Ooh,
at some point.
that's
but
a bold move.
But it was also one of those where it's like, I don't know.
Right, because
I
you
don't
have the
wanna-
T-shirt cannon.
Uh-huh.
Gosh, yeah, I don't know. I have a Force of Good card that allows you to see in the darkness if your eyes are covered with worms. I could have given that to him.
Giving him worms.
Because
You could have given him
worms.
giving him worms, would that have
Valid.
gone well? No,
Valid. I'd give him that.
no.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you give the
I mean,
king who
I'm
has
down.
everything, though?
Wow.
Dwarven
Wow.
king, he's probably
Well, I
got enough
think-
gems and jewels.
I think we're gonna give him exactly what he would want, right? That's literally, I think, what we're doing.
Grolago's head on a plate.
Yeah, basically.
Oh boy.
We're giving him the one thing the king actually wants. So we haven't brought a gift yet, but we're about to.
We gave him an IOU.
Yeah,
Like, IOU, one destroyed cannon or one assassinated orc leader.
Yeah, I feel like
Yep.
that was like, hey, don't kill Ugo and we'll do a thing.
That's a way
That's
to
what
negotiate.
that felt like. It felt like, hey, don't kill our orc friend and we'll solve a problem for you.
We'll trade you an orc.
Yeah, which is really like when you break it down like that, it's like,
I'm
man,
conflicted.
Dwarves are horrible people.
I'm conflicted.
I am too.
Well,
I'm-
dwarf
trust me, I'm
kings might be horrible people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no wine or cakes or cheese plates.
I'm sorry, were you expecting
sorry.
a different answer?
Sorry. How about blood of my enemies?
Oh,
There we
okay,
go.
right,
Blood
right.
of my enemies.
Yes, yes.
Gosh. Yeah,
Ash
no, a
drawer.
good fruit basket always
Yeah.
goes
Yes.
over well.
I mean, it could have helped. You don't know.
He's been stuck in that mountain for a while.
Ash Jor in chat says an orc baby or an orc skull.
Ah, yeah.
That's dark.
There you
We
go.
just took it to a real dark
Right.
place. Dream Blaze says 100 proof whiskey for
Always
dwarves.
good, sure.
Might be good.
Blood wine.
Might need to go stronger than 100 proof,
Blood
honestly.
wine.
Oh,
Do
blood wine, sure.
Blood
Yeah.
wine.
IOU, Initiate Orc Undertaker. I am Robin Nicole. Very nice,
Well
very
played.
nice.
Well played.
Or a
Oh.
bowl of mountain stew. says Sean Tucker.
Of course,
I
always the
imagine-
Mountain Stew.
I imagine he probably has all the Mountain Stew he could ever ask for, or
So
Mountain Stew Code Red.
By the way,
Mountain
when,
Stew
when we
live
were talking
wire.
about, it, I didn't want to give any more to what you were already giving, but I was like, oh, Lily knows all about Mountain Stew. Mountain Stew Baja Blast.
Mountain Stew
Yes.
Baja Blast.
Yeah.
I was so torn in that moment. Like, I don't even know if the camera was on me because
go
when
black.
Jeff said it, when Jeff said Mountain Stew, my mind heard it immediately, and then I was almost waiting for someone else to make the joke. I thought Jeff was going to make the joke, and I'm like, no one's saying anything.
No, I think Jeff was unaware.
Yeah. Yes, he admitted earlier, he's like, I just did not hear
Yeah.
it. Where it was just, it clicked to my head like immediately.
He started giggling, and I was there like, what are you talking about?
I
He
was
said
like,
Mountain Stew.
I was like, I'm not gonna make the joke. Like, no one else is gonna. Okay,
When you said
I'm
it, my brain
going
went
in.
together. It's great.
Dude, I laughed so hard when you said it. I was listening to the podcast while I was driving, and I laughed out loud when you
Yes.
said Mountain Stew Code Red.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the camera was on you for that part, but well played.
Thank you. Yes, I'm both proud and ashamed of that moment.
Those are the best moments.
Indeed.
Ashore says, does Mountain Stew contain mountain oysters?
Oh, I know what mountain oysters are.
Oh, is that a thing?
It's
Yes. Go ahead. It's okay.
testicles of a bull.
Oh, I hope not, would be my answer. Although maybe the Dwarven King would be into that. I have
Maybe
no
they're into
idea.
that. You know, I think your foraging options are limited when you live inside of a mountain.
Yes, that's
Yes.
true, but
Potatoes.
your options of shiny things are certainly
Very
not
true.
limited at all.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
To the point of where they just make gold statues to hold their bank.
That was a
Like,
fascinating
that's a
thing that Jeff
fascinating
introduced.
thing,
Yeah, it was just sort of like, yeah, we just built it into these massive statues, which, you know, I'm sure has Civ thinking, how do we steal a statue?
Well, and that was it. I was expecting him to start describing like, well, this one has a full arm, but it looks like half of it's just been lopped off.
Right.
Because they needed to buy some stuff.
Right. So maybe we go in, we disguise ourselves as a construction crew, and we're like, oh, we're just working on the statues. And we take off, you know, a forearm, and that's worth a few thousand gold.
So your gift is stealing a golden forearm.
That's right,
Yes.
yes.
Great.
yes.
Good.
We're not getting any
Yes.
better with these gifts, I'm
Perfect.
sorry.
Yes.
No, not at all.
We're
But I
here to help,
appreciate it.
Trisha.
I appreciate the attempts, guys. All right, watchers of the time stream, runners, make sure that you give tonight's conversation some gas. The rundown is, of course, powered by your comments, your questions, and your thoughts. So post your high-octane, turbo-punched comments into the chat, and you could score some Dungeon Run swag like Ron was beautifully modeling earlier. Put the pedal to the metal, or in this case, your fingers to the keyboard, and let's go ahead and check out what you guys are saying. Let's see, Dreamblaze says, give them a free trip into the bag of holding. Ooh, I don't
Hopefully
know that
a
that's
short
something
trip.
Yes.
everyone would love necessarily.
Everyone likes to stare into the void every now and then. Says James.
Thunder Muffin says we need some fan art of Uggo in the helmet covered in Mountain Stew.
Oh God, yes.
That was a beautiful moment.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, you had just never taken off the helmet.
Nope.
Yeah, how did you eat in that?
Oh, it's all over. As easy as I can.
Oh, here's a question from Kamikaze Reaper.
Oh.
Says, James, if you
Yes.
can redo your fire claim charm, what would you say?
You need to remind me. Should I grab my cards? What's my fire claim charm? I know literally we're just talking about this, but I'm blanking on what the specifics of it are. I'm so sorry.
Let's see if we can get some specification. Kamikaze Reaper says the insurance.
Do you want me to break out the deck of
Do
my
it.
force of good
Do it.
cards?
Do it.
Because it's
Do it.
massive.
Well,
I'm
and it's
not-
understandable that you might get confused
I
now
know.
that there are so many.
Okay,
There
so
are a
this
lot.
is my deck.
Is that really your stack?
This is just my stack
Yeah.
right now.
What?
Yes, can you hold this for a moment, sir?
absolutely can.
Burning the layer.
Yes.
I'm a good support.
Thank you very much. So I'm sorry, I don't mean to come up blank on this.
This is what happens when we take live comments. So just in
I
case
know.
anyone at home thinks this is pre-recorded,
Not the
now
super
you know.
smoker. No. Okay. Where are you? Let's move
Did you
on
spend
and I
it?
will
Did
come
you
back.
already
Okay.
spend it?
No, did I spend it already?
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Kamikaze, I love you. I'm sorry, I'm blanking, buddy.
Jared says I stole his card.
He very well might have.
Okay, it was Insta. You did.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it was an instant use.
Yes. it was
Oh.
Instant use.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't know. Don't
Moving
recall.
on. All right.
I remember
So-
a lot of things from last week. I do not remember that.
Going through them so fast. And James is supposed to be a librarian. Says House of
I'm
Pancakes.
so sorry. I'm so sorry.
How dare you not actually
Spring
be
these things. I will answer that question on the Discord later when I have found time to
Yeah,
research.
there you go.
Like
will
a
do that.
librarian.
Yeah.
Perfect. And there's our Discord plug for the evening.
I love you. Thank you so much.
And that's how you know this community is awesome, because he's absolutely telling the truth. Because we all do that.
We
so.
do, we do,
Yep.
we do.
Everyone's
fans.
very active on the Discord. I
Yes.
love it. All right, so we all know how last week's episode, The Paladin and the King, ended. But do you remember how things got started?
How could I
So
forget?
hit the share button and watch as we throw it back to meeting Dondo, the Dwarven cleric.
We are told that you are prideful, egotistical warmongers.
Dwarves tell other dwarves that you are prideful warmongers.
We are. We have not had strong leaders in a very long time. Much chaos, pain, violence, and blood, even amongst family members. It is shameful. And all I have ever known of your kind has been a lie to me. And I have wished many evils upon your kind. And when I first heard that you were under this circumstances, part of me celebrated. Duncan, you asked what I need. I need to learn how to control this hatred that I have and this anger. When I appeared to you, ready to fight, you did not flinch. I have never seen that before.
The truth will set you free, Ago. Through surrendering myself to the truth and focusing on divine purpose, committing myself, committing everything I had, and taking an oath. An oath to the Candle Queen.
Are you not afraid that one day you may have to break that oath?
Every day. But my oath is an oath of redemption. I believe in peace, in preventing war and fight, in turning against the rage, and finding what can be saved in every person, regardless of their skin color.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That was a lot, Ron. How's it feel watching
heavy.
that back?
It's heavy. That stuff's heavy. Yeah. It's, you know, I have a lot of pride in all that stuff. I really do. It's, I haven't gotten a lot of opportunity to show the connection that I have to just emotion and to things that have happened. And so to be able to actually get that out and use the emotions that I've experienced in a real way, especially to help tell a story, because that's how I think humanity has learned anything, is storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an awesome thing to experience, I think.
I was hit a few moments by the choice, by realizing the choices you'd made with Ugo this week especially, and I laughed because I was like, Ron and I have not made it easy on ourselves, but in two very different ways. And the choices that you have made about Ugo's beliefs and about Ugo's beliefs about himself, but about others, it's you have built in the conflict and the suffering
Yeah.
that he's going to go through.
Yeah.
And so have I for
Yeah.
James, but in a very different way.
Yep.
And I think it's fascinating. It's creating an interesting dynamic between us because James is smart enough to see Ugo's contradictions
Yeah.
and how he's going to make himself suffer.
Yeah.
James is trying to help him,
Yeah.
but it's slow going and he
Yeah.
hasn't figured it out.
Yeah.
I think part of this relationship is as much about these two very different people trying to figure out how to be brothers, how to work together, how to communicate. Because I do think James is smart enough to. I don't think Ugo is not a willing hypocrite, but there are absolutely massive contradictions in
For
his
sure,
belief
of
system.
course.
And you're like, and James is like, what? No, you, but you, what?
Yep.
And he sees the amount of pain that causes him, and because he's grown to care for this person, that bothers him. But also, so this all started with a way of like, I see everything going on, and I'm Morgan is impressed, and then I'm also just sort of like, man, we like to punish ourselves, don't we? Good Lord.
Well, but that's in some ways that's what some of the best actors are, right?
Yeah.
They're punishing themselves for a purpose.
Right.
And for me, it's different. It's a lot of it is sourced in how I viewed myself for a very long time, and especially that contradictive nature of, well, how could you think you're such a horrible thing, but you're like the best thing?
Right.
At least that's what people say, you know.
Right.
It's a strange thing. Therapy is very helpful, guys. You
Indeed.
should absolutely seek.
Yes.
Everyone should have therapy. Absolutely believe that.
Yes, a lot of people in chat are asking, does this mean that Ugo's going to multi-class? Zach Mac09 says, is there an inclination maybe to make a pact with the Candle Queen?
Well, I'll put it this way. Very early on, Ugo made an oath. Very early on, he made an oath, and he made an oath.
So he's
to
gonna go.
Lily.
He's gonna go Oath of Lily Paladin. Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying, an oath. There was an oath made before there were barbarian levels taken.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
There's some
Synergy.
there, and I don't want to ruin anything because I haven't made any final decisions.
Right. I can testify to that. That conversation is ongoing.
I'm still kind of on the fence on because there's really good things on both sides.
Well, and I think when it comes to the gameplay mechanics stuff, because we get asked this all the time: are you going to multi-class, or how are you going to do it? And my answer, and I think most of our answer is that like I have some options in mind. But also, I'm not going to force anything, and I'm going to see where the story takes us because it needs to feel motivated. It needs to feel like something James would do, and it needs to, And
I'm very against, personally, just my personal thing is very against of like, well, here's what I want to do. Let's mold it into that.
Right.
I'm very more of a like, well, here's a couple of options I have.
Right.
And if we get into any of these, then great. But if none of those end up happening, I may go completely the opposite way.
I've had a ton of best laid plans that Jeff or the rest of us have just completely blown to smithereens.
Yeah.
So I'm trusting in the process, so to speak, to just show me the way.
Yeah.
And I mean, speaking of trust, this is a question for both of you. How intact did you think the group's trust was before Dondo's ask for Zone of Truth? Like, how did his prerequisite shake up the party's relationship?
I mean, I think we said it where it was like, and God, I don't want to tooting our own horn. It was a fascinating. It was really kind of a fascinating hour and a half of like, what's gonna happen
and
here?
Reveals to each other that we just didn't even know.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I meant it. I was like, I trust Civ to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
And then we had that moment where Civ said, "You think worse of me than anyone else," and I was like, huh.
Yeah.
No, I don't. And I'm like, well, maybe comparatively, but I'm like.
And then we had the conversation where like, no, I just assumed you've been in my head the whole time.
That blew my mind, dude. I don't want to jump ahead if it's
No, please.
No, that moment blew my mind, to be honest.
Yeah.
That was a real reaction of like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah. I mean, it's
And
one of
that
those
was
because,
a really strong because I know Ron the player knows
I know
how it
that
works.
how that works. Yeah,
Right.
Ron knows how all that
How
works. Of
how
course,
Awakened Mind
Ron
works.
knows that you have not been in Ugo's head, but Ugo doesn't know how that works.
absolutely.
And every time he's experienced, it's just been you're there, and so he's like, oh, well, that guy can read my mind. Cool.
Right. No, it made all the sense in the
Yeah.
world as soon as you put it out there. I was just suddenly, I was like, whoa. And it's a thing about communication, or it's a thing about friendship or family or anything, where it's like if you don't communicate with people, you are leaving them open to make any assumption that they're gonna make.
Yeah.
And so since I didn't take everyone through, this is clearly how my powers work. Of course, Ugo's gonna run away with James is in my head. He can read every thought I have.
And also, I hope that you have. I hope that watchers have realized is like that's led the whole reason to why I felt like I could do anything physically I wanted to you.
Interesting.
Because you do that with your mind. Why can't I do that with my body?
Interesting. I didn't look at it that way.
Yeah, like seriously, because everybody got upset when I would, and rightly so, right? Anyone who physically, without your permission, moves you, you should be absolutely upset at.
Right.
But it was that, for me, it was always that. It was like, well, you do it to my mind. And I was just waiting for someone to go, you can't do that to him. That's his body, you can't do that. And I'll go, well, he does it to my mind.
Yeah. No, it was such an interesting moment. And yeah, it did. and
that was my favorite
spawned the second zone of truth.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I need to make a point.
There were so many moments during this last week's episode that I was like, oh, snap. Oh, no. Like, and every single time I was like, this is the moment we're going to touch on the rundown. And I'm like, okay, well, there were like 25. So.
There were a lot.
Thank you guys for all of that. Gamer shares with hashtag UgoFacts. Thank you, Ron, for giving us that insight. So we saw Dondo connect with you, Ron, but something clearly didn't sit right with Civ.
Yeah.
So what were both of your initial thoughts at their interaction?
Between Dondo and Civ, I mean, I think when Jared had to roll the dice immediately, what's your name?
Well, I guess we're rolling. Wow.
And I think they caught my reaction to that, which is like, holy crap. Wow,
Okay.
really? Okay.
I kind of went, all right.
I think, well, and we got there where Civ is very afraid of being laid bare in front of these people, especially in front of one person in particular, who he values so much. And as I think he said later, it's not about the king, it's not about Dondo, it's about Lily, really.
Because he connected with Shamus, with the priest before, and that was fine.
Yes,
But he didn't do that in front of Lily.
No, he didn't do that in front of Lily, and he wasn't, exposed in that way.
Right.
And, the whole sequence of him basically asking me to lie to the rest of you for him, it went so poorly because, and I think I even said to him after that, I'm like, what did you expect? I was just gonna go into them and go, so Civ's not gonna come, it's gonna be fine though, don't worry about it. You think everybody was gonna go, cool, anyway, let's move on. It's like, that was never how that was gonna work.
No, I think Civ thought you were gonna make up some kind of elaborate, really smart lie that no one would have questioned.
I can do that. I'm not gonna say James can't do that. Right. But also, I don't know. His heart wasn't in it, that's for sure.
I think this might be the first time that Ugo has realized that maybe Civ is not the wisest person.
Ah.
First time it's really hit Ugo that, because I mean, as we saw, Ugo has a great respect for Civ and his abilities and trusts him.
And Civ and James in a way, and maybe Ugo too, Civ and James in a way are both just dancing as fast as they can, and literally just trying to handle stuff as it comes to them, and hopefully ignoring the other stuff.
So on that note, here's a fun question from Dasmir. It says, what question would get your character to have to Civ roll? You don't have to tell us what your answer to the question would be, but what question could your character be asked that would make you go, ugh?
The one that gave me the mildest bit of pause was, who do you serve? But I think James clearly believes and does serve Ein. Now,
what question would make you want to lie, though, like right off the bat?
Boy. That's a good
If
one.
you need time to let it incubate, let it incubate.
I'm trying to think of how it would be worded to make James just absolutely flustered immediately. Where does your power come from, probably?
Okay. Yeah.
That's
How about I'll go?
That's probably what I could see for you.
Yeah.
Do you hate orcs?
Ooh.
I think that would have been one where he would either have to. It would have been a problematic question.
Yeah.
It would have definitely been a problematic.
For sure. So what do you think that Dondo saw in the group that convinced him to then introduce the group to the king?
I mean, probably just saw 5 strangers in front of him, but also, you know.
He seemed to acquiesce pretty quick when we said natural order.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe it's partially because we're such a disparate group.
Yeah.
You know, you have this human librarian, you have this orc barbarian, you have this tabaxi rogue, this wizard, and then this gnome bard, and it's an odd group of people. And so I guess I can see a curiosity and a like, so how's this work?
Yeah.
Tell me about all of
I'm
this.
interested here. Generally, I think this is a good. Let's talk.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, understood. Yeah.
It's like a Ripley's Believe It or Not kind of thing, right?
Right.
It's like, oh yeah,
Right.
I have no idea how this works, but dang, I'm fascinated. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so he's into it. I liked Captain Crunch. Shout out to you for this one. Barbarian Librarian, the new hit K-pop group 2020.
That's right. Coming for you, BTS.
That's it. Yeah, Dondo was super into it.
You got the funky librarian, and I got whatever that was when I was showing off the shirt.
That's right. That's right.
With the
Back up
t-shirt
dancer.
wiggle.
The t-shirt wiggle.
Yeah. Dr. Spark says, here's a question. What do you think you will find at the heart of the mountain?
At the heart of the mountain. I mean, a volcano, probably. And you have forges. I'm scared, and I know you probably are too, because of the things in D&D that will mess you up fastest. Lava is
Pretty up there.
nasty.
Yeah, lava's not good.
Like, if you fall in lava,
I mean, also in real life, though.
it's true.
Well, yeah. The good thing about lava in real life, for the most part, is that it's real slow.
It's a good thing you can run from it for the most
Yeah,
part.
For the most part, you can run from
But
it.
if you're fighting in and around, well, not in lava, if you're fighting around lava, it's a good way to die.
Man,
Yeah.
so many video games.
Fun story.
True.
I learned this week. So Mount Vesuvius, right? It erupted in Pompeii and all that. There was a man who apparently was some kind of guard who was sleeping when it went off, and the heat got so high that his brain exploded.
Oh.
And inside his brain, when they opened it up, was black crystal glass, and that was his brain.
What?
The heat got so hot, like 500 degrees Celsius or something like that.
What?
And I read that and I went, yeah, now I know what it's like, Dragonfire. Cool, cool, Dragonfire, cool.
Yeah.
The more you know.
Gold Dragon, no.
Wow.
But
Thank you
I'm
for
good.
that.
Yeah.
tidbit.
Yeah.
That was
Science Today. Or
Sleep
something
well,
like that.
kids.
Yeah. Science, it'll teach you things.
on that morbid note. So James found himself the dumping ground for Civ's fears.
Yes.
And the bearer of the bad news to the heroes of Bingo, which we mentioned just a little earlier. But let's actually watch as James breaks Civ's absence to the team here.
Civ
He's been gone for a while.
isn't going to come with us to the king tomorrow.
What?
Huh? He's going to scout ahead. Try to get a good look at the forges.
And
Why are we hearing this from you and
Yeah,
I am?
why are you telling us? Well, what's wrong?
I can't say. I know, and I don't mean that I can't say. I mean, I really don't know.
I think this needs to be a conversation with him. I don't think we can go to the king and get access to the Sky Scorcher Peak and then have him come with us. It's so
We
dangerous.
just established that we weren't going to hide Uggo for that exact reason. We're going to be truthful as possible,
Yeah, this seems weird.
right?
I'm not
He's
sure.
gonna sneak off on his own. That's insanity.
I think he's very afraid.
We're all quite afraid. The alternative is dying, as Lily just said.
Some people would prefer to die.
I think we need to remain calm when Sid comes back and approach this.
Very easy for you to say. They do not want to kill you.
I'm saying when Civ comes back as his friends, we need to.
Is he coming
Is
back?
he coming?
Yes, he is coming back.
Tonight?
Yes. But I'm simply trying to prepare you for the fact that getting him to come to the king tomorrow is going to be very, very difficult.
Fool.
Uggo,
What?
I agree with Uggo.
It's truth.
I know, but I think something you're going to need to work on is judging people too quickly.
I am not judging
That's
him.
a
I
judgment.
just said the
Yes,
truth.
you are. You do not know the reasons behind it. And
Regardless
fool-
of reason,
Uggo,
it is foolish.
maybe.
What? Okay, so that
But
is,
we don't.
you
But
agree.
we don't know.
I know that what he is deciding to do is foolish.
I think instead of talking down to Uggo like he's a fool, we're not able to understand, you should tell us the truth. Right? If you know that there's an alternative reason, then what is it?
I don't know. I don't know.
Uninspired in chat says, Civ, well, that didn't last long. It's
See what
very
I do
true.
for you, Civ? You see what I go through for you, man?
So Morgan, as noble as standing in for Civ was,
Yeah.
you found yourself faced with the wrath of the rest of the party.
Yep.
What was the most difficult part of that moment for James?
Oh, I mean, well, and we'd just been talking about it, but James is trying with Uggo to break some ice on his way of thinking, because again, it goes back to the way Uggo is part of what is making him so unhappy. And calling people coward immediately, stuff like that, like coming to split-second judgments on people. James is already seeing the problematic nature of it, and so so that was probably the hardest part, is because I'm trying. Like, James is really trying to get some empathy. But having said that, he can't defend what Civ.
Right.
He doesn't. As I think I said when Jared was like, I'm like, I don't know what to say. I can't. You think we're just gonna go to the king and go, yeah, it's 4 of us. It'll be 5 later, but don't worry about it.
Don't worry about
it's
that
just
guy.
the 4 of us. And I'm like, that's a crappy plan, man. So that was kind of the most difficult part. Was I couldn't really defend what I was being asked to do, which is probably why it didn't hold up very long.
Right. Yeah, I got the feeling that Civ wanted you to create some masterful lie that everyone would have believed. Instead, you were just like, here's the facts. This is what I got.
I know.
Believe it if you will.
You gotta give me some time, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, good point. So, Ron,
Yeah.
why was Uggo so mad?
Well, again, I think that was a realization. That, I think, is more Uggo angry at himself.
Yeah, because I was going to
Not
say, what's the real
realizing-
source of the anger
I think
there?
the anger there is his anger is himself.
Okay.
Because Uggo loves the truth, right? At least what he thinks is the truth, his truth. He loves to speak that, and I think what you're realizing is some of his truth is just it comes out.
Right.
It's not. I wasn't calling him a name. It's
Right.
just the truth. It's
Right.
just what it is, right?
And it's all
If
based on his experience.
Right,
yeah.
right. And it's the same concept of like, well, if you do a thing that's illogical, technically that makes you an idiot,
Right.
Technically. So calling you an idiot is just telling you that you're not thinking logically.
Right.
That's a simple thing. But so for Uggo, where society's a bit rougher and tumble, like we speak truth to each other, judgment or not.
Uggo's a New Yorker.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah. Not even getting into why that's the thing. But it's that kind of, when he says he's a fool, that's Uggo not thinking, oh, I should think this in my head.
Right.
This is him going, well, he's a fool. Well, that's because he's foolish. Like, what? He's
Right.
foolish. Because I think that was a realization for him.
Right.
Like, oh, this person that I put so much stock in is willing to just throw it all away. Like, he knows I'm in danger. Like, you're just going to leave? Dondo said we all have to go, and the first thing you do is run. What is going on?
Yeah.
Right.
The only thing he can think of is this is foolish. It's fear. There's something he's hiding that he shouldn't worry about and should just say, and that's, I think, hopefully he's starting to, like, Uggo's like, look, hiding things does you no good. It does you no good.
I wonder if Jared, and we'll have to ask him this next time he's on the rundown, I wonder if Jared actually thought he was going to get away with this plan.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know, and part of me part of me thinks he knows he wouldn't, because, but again, it goes back to you're desperate, and he's being faced with the consequences of his lies, like, you know, coming on a collision course with these relationships that he has and that he values so much.
Yeah.
And so he tried not to give up and just let it happen. He tried, he was, you know, it's a stupid mistake. It's, you know, it's that thing of, well, what else? You help me, please.
Right.
And
I think it's for me, it felt like a loss of control.
Sure.
Right? I noticed this a lot from some people that I love and care about are like this, where there's got to be some semblance of control, and if they lose that, it's now there's fear and
right, and there's
hiding.
suddenly so much focus being put on, and that was the whole cliffhanger of the Zone of Truth.
Yeah.
Was we were all freaked out.
Yeah.
Maybe not all of us. Some of us were freaked out by what could happen inside that Zone of Truth, and when your back is up against the wall and someone has, you know, the barrel of truth pointed at you,
Right. And the one person you care about is staring you at you when that barrel of truth is coming at
and
you.
you're just trying to get out.
Yeah.
You're just trying to wiggle out, and that's what Civ does.
Naked.
He's dexterous.
He's a kitty.
He gets out of trouble somehow.
Yeah.
And caught up to him.
I'm trying to figure it out. Okay, so speaking of the Zone of Truth, the Zone of Truth between you guys was so powerful. How does this moment stand to either reinforce or break down the bonds within the group? What do you think that fans learned about your characters in moments like these?
Well, I think I you know, going back to, I think James had made assumptions that Uggo knew how it worked, and so it was kind of again a blew my mind moment of kind of like, oh no, you know, and this is so funny because it sort of echoes Morgan's experience with the viewer's experience of James, which is I was a little defensive for a while because people were making a lot of judgments of James because they knew nothing about him.
You didn't tell him.
Exactly. And I would, and Sean Patrick, I'm sure, can attest to this. I tried not to get too defensive, but I was also be like, I think you're reading that wrong. And I'm like, or I would just try to say, that's an interesting take, but that doesn't necessarily, I don't know that necessarily means what you think it means. And so, and this is all trying to say that, like, when you don't tell people anything and when you don't communicate and when you don't talk, people are gonna come to whatever conclusions they're gonna come to.
That's right.
And so, I built James as a very mysterious character that hopefully you would get to know and start to see his inner workings more. But for a long time in our story, people don't know what's motivating James.
No.
And so it sort of threw me off sometimes because I would see takes about him that were wildly off. But I'm like, and I would go, wait a minute, what? And I'm like, well, no, I haven't told him any reason to contradict that. So
I feel like that Zone of Truth moment between you two was like, it kind of the real life equivalent of therapy and going to a good therapy session every now and then where you just need to let it all out and explain and communicate. That's what happened for you guys.
Right. And the other similar moment that happened between Civ and I, where Jared again, you know, stated that that he thought James had the lowest opinion of him, which, you know, I guess might be true of the four other people. Might be true because we haven't had like open conflicts like James and Uggo have. Right. But there's been moments of kind of like, all right, I see you. I think I see what's going on.
And you know, I think I don't know if any. What I love about that is the different. What you and James are guilty of is similar things, right? You've killed people for.
Wait a minute, I'm sorry, what are you saying?
I'm saying you guys have
Morgan.
similarities. Sorry, that's right.
Morgan, you have killed people.
Morgan, you kill people. Sorry, I didn't mean to let that out on.
We're on camera.
Sorry.
We're live.
Take it back.
Ron, I
take it back.
told you that in confidence.
Hilarious.
Sid and
hilarious.
James have killed people, and so has Uggo. But there's been some expectation that, oh yeah, you're an orc. That probably happens. I think here, what I love is, Uggo's problem is not that you've killed someone.
Right.
Because you heard him, he's like,
Right.
oh, you're protecting somebody. It was that you're secretive about it.
Right.
James, at least Civ, he's known. Like, no, oh yeah, I've killed people,
Right.
been on both sides, done it. Like, oh, okay, great. But now it's that realization of there's a lot of lying going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of lying going on. And why? What?
Why?
Why is all this lying happening?
I think we're all just trying to protect ourselves, you know?
Yes.
And it's a party full of, I mean, most adventurers don't adventure because life is amazing.
No,
You know?
right. Yeah, we all know that. That's
Well,
You know, it's like,
said.
it's the joke about dark backstories in
Yeah.
D&D, but it's like, well, you don't set out on the road to
Right.
be an adventurer
Right.
because home life is fantastic.
right.
I am Robin Nicole says everyone knows if you kill people, just do it out in the open and
Right.
then it's
Right.
all good.
And
100%.
Look, if you're gonna be a murderer, be an out in the open murderer.
That's how
Wow.
Uggo does it. That's
That's right,
the Uggo
that's
way.
right, that's right. It's the Uggo way.
Wow.
But no, the conversation between Civ and James, like it harkened back to our conversation on the Tardy Plunder when it was just he and I, which is still one of my favorite scenes or whatever you want to call it of this whole story at the time, because I think, you know, there was kind of a sizing up of each other, but also it was interesting to James to see how Civ misread that conversation, which is I tried to say in that conversation, you can have your secrets. I've got my secrets. I'm not trying to say that your reasons are bad or that I need to know them. I'm just saying if they're going to result in that behavior, there's going to be a problem. And that was all James was trying to say in that conversation. And a lot of people, Civ included, took that to mean, how dare you keep secrets? And I'm like, that's not what James was thinking
Right.
at all.
Right.
James isn't, you know, about to rush out and tell his secrets.
Right. As we found out
Yes.
much later. But
well, yes.
Yeah.
That long, the pause was almost too long, I will say.
I mean-
but I, you know.
Still one of the best reveals I've ever been a part of,
Oh,
honestly.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I see things coming, did not see that coming.
Oh, yeah.
That part I did not see coming, so
Thanks. Thanks, buddy.
still.
You're talking,
still gives me
about
chills.
Thad Yelmings?
Yeah.
Old Thad.
Yeah, good old Thad.
Old Thad.
You know.
Thad gets mentioned in episode 7, I think, the first time. And
Yep.
yeah, it took, what, almost 30 episodes?
Yep.
Yep.
The slow play, the slow reveal.
Yeah.
Dadpool 1980, thank you for saying the flagon of truth sounds good for a tavern too.
Oh yeah.
Flagon
the
of
flagon
truth.
And Malcolm S3X says barrel of truth sounds like a good whiskey. Sure does. So we're just putting
Nice.
together a whole
Barrel
night
of
out
truth.
for all of this. No, Greedo 888, the show is not canceled now that we've found out that Morgan maybe is a murderer.
No, no. How dare
Due
you?
to a misstep. Due to a misstep. You know,
Sorry,
we
pal.
were
Sorry.
talking about kind of how everybody felt in this Civ kind of, you know, P.S. I was lying, which I think we're going to check out in
Quandary.
just a second.
Yes.
But people were saying, you know, I thought everyone would have been more angry at this mention of you saying, you know, Civ's not coming with us because Uggo. Well, Ron, you were super upset as Uggo. And some other people were like, oh, I don't understand why he's doing it. But I don't think that anyone jumped to anger necessarily. And maybe
No.
should they have?
Fahima did.
Yeah, she did.
Fahima
That's
definitely did. I think James is. It's kind of Vulcan now that I'm going to say it. It's like James's first thing was like logic of trying to figure out why, and so where the emotion was almost unnecessary. It was like emotion isn't going to help right now. I need help.
Yeah.
We need help figuring this out.
Right.
And I'm just going to tell you the circumstances, which is Civ is not coming, or he doesn't want to come. And but no, I think both you and Fahima kind of reacted rightfully angry.
I think it was, and again, I can't speak for Fahima or Jessica, but I really think that was just it was more of a like, oh, you let me down. You know, it's not like you did anything wrong. It's
Right.
just you let me down.
Right.
That's, I think, where the anger came from Uggo. It's like, of all of us, you're the one I would expect to be there during the battle.
It's again a lack of trust.
Yeah.
And you know that we wouldn't have his back
Yeah.
in that throne room.
Right. Right. And that's the yes.
Yeah.
Right. And you hit the nail on the head again, man. Like it's that. It's well now I wonder like, what do you think of me? That that I like, and it was said in the conversation.
Sure.
As we'll see. It was said.
Sure.
It was like, no, if I have to kill people to save you, then we have to kill people to save you, man.
Right.
Like, that's
And
what we
also,
have to
like,
do.
haven't we been over that
Right.
before?
Like, haven't we
a
done this
million
millions of times? Yeah, right.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So this week's rundown is winding down, and with less than 24 hours left until the next episode of the Dungeon Run, your chance at scoring some swag is coming to a close. So remember, keep on posting those comments, questions, and thoughts in chat, and that shirt could be in the bag.
Yeah.
All right, some weeks are all about the spells, while others reveal the magic and the strength that lie within our favorite characters. So right now, let's all watch as our group's beloved Tabaxi comes clean about his true identity.
For me, telling me the truth has no consequence other than
I've been lying to you since day one.
I figured.
What?
All right. So if you want to know all
Yes.
the dirty little truth,
All of
do?
it.
fine. Let's see, where shall I begin? All right. My name is not really Siv Red Thistle. They called me Sivrak, and I spoke like this. My people are not treated kindly throughout Ain, so I have been pretending to be someone other than who I really am. I grew up lying. I'm very good at it. It is like a warm blanket that I wear all the time. And it's got me through this life. Just like your big, strong muscles and your big maul.
And my anger.
Yes.
Yes.
And now you're trying to change, yes?
Yes.
All right. I am as well.
I understand.
Okay, it is not easy, is it?
No.
Fine.
You know why it's easier? Do you know why I find it easier?
No, I don't.
Because of you. Because when I show my anger, you don't dismiss me. You fight with me and make me understand that it's important.
How did you make it through with the Duke? If you so hate kings.
I spoke to the priest, and he convinced me that there was another way.
He gave you hope.
Yes.
You've both been around kings, around rulers that have done something bad, and you were in positions where you couldn't do anything, and now you are in a position where you can do something.
And you can show yourself, and you can show other people, not the kings. Who gives a damn what the kings think?
Well, the people that suffer.
Yes, but you can show them that an orc is not a monster,
We are, but
that a poor tabaxi from a cold existence can be a hero.
All right, I almost want to do a commentary track of you guys
I know.
watching these packages back.
I know.
So you guys at home can't hear what they're saying. But give us some insight, because there were some nods, there were some laughs, there were some comments. What was happening while you guys were watching?
Just impressed with Jared, first
Yeah.
off. Excellent performance by Mr. Kajak.
I thought he was going to cry.
I think he did.
Yeah, I think he
Chef
did.
Scott 68 said, Jared, great job of holding it together there in that first moment where you can tell he's like about to say it and then takes a moment, and then is about to say it and then
Right.
takes another moment. It's rough.
I think it was, but
I think some of that anger, but saying nice things to one another, was probably an easier way to handle than crying together. Does that make
Katie
sense?
called it out so well.
Yeah,
I
she
think you're
did.
just agreeing loudly with
Loudly
each
with each
other.
other.
And I mean, it led to, you know, the kind of moment of, because it's one of the reasons that I love this kind of storytelling. It's one of the reasons that I love, you know, doing this kind of stuff through metaphor, that we're able to tell this kind of a story of someone who is restarting their life. And I think that can apply to so many different people in so many different ways. And being able to let him make that decision at the end of the conversation, because I was genuinely asking myself, and that's how that question of who do you want to be came out, because it was just like, Morgan in my head was like, so what's Jared gonna do? What does he want to do? And so I just sort of just played it out as James, where it was like, who do you want to be? Do do you want to be that guy? It doesn't sound like you want to be Sivarak. It sounds like you want to be Civ Red Thistle. And I'm here to say, you can be Civ Red Thistle. And
which was a lovely choice to give him. It was a lovely way to kind of put a button on that conversation for the moment.
Yeah.
And also, I think give him a little bit more, like, you're not alone, man. Like,
No.
you get it.
Well, and just so completely from a meta perspective,
Yeah.
I think everyone watching it was wondering, is he going to be Civrek from now on?
Right.
Like, do we all have to say goodbye to Civ Red Thistle now because once he's dropped this bomb, this is where he's going from now
Right.
on?
I do want to hand out some props to Jessica Lynn Parsons because she, girl,
Made me laugh so many times.
Good.
Made me laugh so many
good.
times last episode.
Seriously, the comedic timing, but
It's
also
too sexy a name. I knew
but,
it.
yeah,
It's like,
but
oh,
That was
also in that,
It was so funny and so needed. We all
I
needed
know,
that
yeah.
laughter. That
She
laugh
was our
so
pressure
bad.
release
Yeah.
valve
she
all
was
episode.
comedic timing last episode, but also the questions there.
Yeah.
When Civ is talking, just the good
Going
ones,
back
right,
to the
like
Duke
right
immediately.
at him. Okay, what about Duke? Oh, dang. Okay,
Well,
yeah, that's a
and
good
it's
one.
very Fahima. It's very
Yeah.
Fahima because Fahima is very smart,
Yep.
but she also doesn't have much of a filter
Right.
because of her upbringing
Yep.
and because of her sheltered kind of whatever.
Yep.
And so she thinks that she says it most of the time. And so it makes a lot of sense, and Jessica's playing it very well in those moments for if the moment feels awkward and something's not being said, Fahima's going to say it.
Yep.
And
It's part of what Ugo likes about her. Ugo likes, like, you talk like I do sometimes.
Right.
You think it and come out.
Whereas Civ and James, in different ways, have both survived as long as they have by trying to read the room, trying
And
to
keeping
read,
their mouths shut.
read the silences,
Yeah.
and stay small in certain things, and stay, but also maintaining and controlling every other, boy. Talk about therapy. Maintaining, like, controlling someone else's perception and emotions in the scene, in the situation, in each interaction.
Yep.
And I mean,
I'm
mad
literally echoing my personal therapy at this point.
Which is lovely. You're all getting it for free. You're welcome. Now, Morgan and Ron, describe your feelings upon hearing Civ's story, because props need to be given to both of you as well for your reaction.
Well, thank you.
Hey, thank you. It was. Again, it was similar to what people's response to James when I laid out some of my secrets a few weeks ago, which is like, oh, that makes sense. Like, there's a lot that makes sense now.
For Ugo, it's, why are you upset about yourself for surviving?
Huh.
Why are you upset at yourself for surviving?
Well, and I think
You were born with no parents. Nobody told you what was right, what was wrong. You were a cat left on the street by yourself.
But he was told
you did what you had to do.
But he was told he was lesser than his entire life.
Right, and that part is you're listening to other people.
Yes.
And can understand that.
Right.
Can relate. But it's more of like, if you are Civ Red Thistle,
Right.
the first thing that you did when I met you was Sid Red Thistle.
But I think even people, I think I'd even seen viewers point out, it's sort of like, Civ's accent is interesting for this kind of street smart rogue.
Yeah.
He's got kind of this, upscale British thing going on. And it was like, oh, that's why.
He's a little Flynn Rider in Tangled.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, good call.
Yeah, the street urchin that wants to be the big hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jared is in chat talking about
Hey,
his
buddy.
accent right now. Hey, Jared.
Hey,
the thing
buddy.
that kind of struck me was that no one was really shocked. Now, I have bought Civ Red Thistle this whole time, as I'm sure many viewers have out there. So when he was like, Civ's not my real name, I was 100% like, oh, snap.
I think it had been, well, at that point, we'd already seen him roll
Yeah.
at the first question,
Right.
which is, what's your name?
You'd seen that, and if you, I don't know how much Secret Roomage you watched, but if you would have watched
None.
back a whole bunch of episodes
Right.
ago, you would have seen that accent come out once before.
Right.
And so you may have had an inkling there.
I had heard there was another accent.
Okay.
I think I had accidentally seen that in like a YouTube comment. I still haven't watched that scene.
Yeah. So like Half-Blood Phoenix Fire says, although I love both Civ voices, I thought Katie would have been more surprised. Yeah, I kind of felt that way about the whole party,
Well,
but you all kind of were like,
We also had just
okay.
learned from him about Val or the
Vic.
Vic, excuse me. We had just all learned about Vic.
right.
So the whole I've lied about stuff has been kind of like, oh,
Well,
yeah, okay.
And maybe even more so than that was he was very fragile in that moment,
Yeah.
and it was a very fragile moment. And so I think an overblown reaction when you have someone who's literally just unlocking their chest and showing you their internal organs and all of their weak spots, I think, yeah, I don't know.
He was a shivering kitty, and he needed to be cuddled. That's really what he needed.
That's
Spoken
And so we were there
lovingly.
He got a huggo from Uggo,
That's right.
verbally, and
Which was a little loud at
which was a
points.
little loud and
A little
aggressive.
loud.
Yeah.
But you know,
But
hey.
caring.
But caring. I love you a lot.
No, man.
Son of Joxer says Civ Red Thistle's the Dread Pirate Roberts of Ein.
Right.
I love
Right.
it. So Morgan and Ron, let's play devil's advocate for a second. What if Civ had not returned and the group was faced with meeting the king without him?
I've
How
thought
might they
about
have
it.
fared?
I've thought about it. It would have been real problematic if Civ was just waiting down there in the forge, waiting for us, and we're like, cool, we're gonna go.
You guys cool? You
we're
cool
gonna,
up there?
yeah.
Great,
Hey,
thanks.
so I would have had. Would it have affected the actual meeting with the king? I mean, yeah, it probably would have raised suspicions because Dondo wouldn't have been cool with it.
No.
But I mean, in terms of actual mechanics of everything, if he wouldn't have been there, it probably would have ended the same way, where it's like we need to go off and prove ourselves to him to let us into his inner sanctum. And so it probably would have just been an awkward sending. Hey, come back. We're leaving. We got to go do some stuff first.
Right? And Ron, you're shaking your head.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if I want to think about it, really, to be honest.
I did ask Jeff,
know.
after the show last week, I did ask Jeff, were you ready for us to talk our way past the king if it happened? And he was like, yes. He's like, have you guys rolled a 30 at the door?
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
How we did not end up slaughtering dwarves, I really still am shocked that that didn't occur.
I don't-
Especially after you got shot in the
Yeah,
shoulder.
and Jeff was like, I was expecting,
I
he's like, I expected both. I wasn't sure how Ron was going to play with that. And for those of you who didn't know and didn't see me, I rolled that damage. I took that damage. That's why I did push-ups to feel better. I don't know, because, I mean, we literally had just talked to Dondo about being honest and like, okay, the only way that we get through this is by being completely open and honest about what's going on. And then for him to turn around and give us no choice on it, that's a point of like, well, Dondo said, to be honest, is the only way I'm going to get out of this alive. So there's another person here. He's down there. I don't know where he's at. We should find him. That's
right.
And then we are in big trouble, right? Because
Right, and Dondo was sticking his neck out for us in multiple ways, and so you don't take that and go, cool, we're gonna screw you over. Sorry about that.
Especially after Uggo saw, Uggo was one of the few that got to see how Civ interacted with Chalmers.
That's right.
And so to see that and for him to do that, we're like, no, you're getting called out on this.
But again, it's
learn the lesson.
Yeah, it's desperation. It's him being
for sure.
barrel of truth again. Being pointed in his direction.
We do strange things.
Yeah.
When we are
especially
under the thumb.
Yeah, it's true.
But how very realistic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so war is coming, and the adventurers are on the front line. What has you both most concerned about what could be your most dangerous mission to date, perhaps? What, if any, reassurance do you have that you'll return to the king alive?
I mean, I'm calling myself out here, but I'm terrified that I've awoken the dragon, so to speak.
Yeah.
I mean, you literally have.
How have we not talked about that yet? So much happened last
there's
episode.
So much.
I brought it up.
I know. It was.
So much.
Yeah, I don't. But my read on it and James's read on it, I hope is correct, which is like that is a dragon that felt like they had other priorities.
Yeah. Most dragons,
that was
I
a
think,
don't
do.
bother me, mortal.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Get out of my head.
Shoe fly, don't bother me.
Would have been worse if he was like, who is this?
Who is
I'm
this and
coming
where
for
are you right now?
Yeah.
Humans don't concern themselves with the dealings of ants, right?
Right.
Like, that's that.
Perfect,
thing.
great, glad to know you.
Cool.
Have a nice
Cool.
day.
Yeah.
Though I will quickly and then answer, but I did feel like you guys were daring me to do it during that scene.
For sure.
Because there was a lot of talk of like, well, it would take something really strong to move that cannon. And boy, I mean, could we explode it like with a really big explosion? And I'm like, I feel like they're daring me. I'm like, really strong explosions, dragon. And I'm like, cool, talking to the dragon. Yes.
was very
and then when you
funny.
guys responded like, "Oh no," and I'm like, "Wait a minute, what?" That was my internal monologue.
Yeah, that's I really enjoyed Jeff's version of a gold dragon.
Yes.
Like
It's
it's so
cool.
cool.
Yeah. But so, yeah, these, I think we're walking into, well, it's so weird. And this is definitely a question going forward is we've been hired to assassinate somebody,
Yeah.
which Ugo has responded very negatively to in the past.
somebody brought it up.
I mean, that's what Whitebeard was.
I mean,
Right, but as soon as it's an orc, it's like, okay, time to kill.
need we revisit the hottest James and Ugo moment?
Love it.
You know, and the fact here we are again, and the fact that it seems to be that it's an orc seems to make all the difference, which
Yeah.
is
Well,
problematic.
And in my head, all I'm hearing is immigrant song going on.
Ugo wants it. Now,
That's all I got
however,
going on. That's all I got.
but the last we heard from these orcs was maybe they had
Oh,
our
I wanna-
boys.
yeah, I wanna-
our boy and our sky child.
I wanna
Yep.
point out that the last time we found Grolago, excuse me. I put a beating on that guy, so
Yes,
I am not concerned.
I was hexing him, but yes.
But still,
Yes, indeed.
he's gonna
That
know
I'm
that.
saying.
He's gonna know that. I don't think the tactic this time is gonna work the same.
Right.
I don't think the I challenge you for leadership is gonna work this one.
Right.
It's just gonna man of like, okay, I killed your leader. I'm leader now.
But so I
Okay.
think, but we've
Okay.
got so many interesting options to play with. I've got clairvoyance now.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I think we're not gonna rush into anything out of just panic.
No.
So
Yeah.
I fully expect us to see the situation, scout it out.
For sure.
Now, who knows? We might get caught. So
Well, my biggest concern is someone that we don't want around is going to show up randomly, like the Ashen Mage, like our gnomish friend from the sky castle, Erdenfurt, who I'm
Yeah.
expecting to be a half mechanical automaton.
or Jan Mo.
Yanmo.
All
even.
three of them are still out there.
Yanmo, but even Ugo's brother.
Dun dun dun.
Oh no, yeah, I was fully expecting.
I'm still fully expecting him to be somewhere nearby.
Yeah, no, the fact that
Fully
you said that
expecting
he could be there,
Yeah.
and I would, that's what I thought the reveal was going to be,
Yeah.
and then it's Grolago.
I didn't think that would. I thought Grolago didn't surprise me, but I'm not sure that that's necessarily over.
No,
That
oh no,
he might just be kind of the
yeah.
first thing we've got to
Oh,
get through.
I agree with you. I think he's
That's
the
where
first
I'm at,
of
the
many.
first
and
of
Yeah.
Carolyn.
Yep.
It's funny. I think we're hungry for a fight. For
Oh, yeah,
sure,
for
for sure. And I think we were trying to get to one by the end of last episode.
We were hungry
but
for a
but
fight.
we had a lot to do.
And Ugo knows the first thing he's going to do when he come walking back through those gates, assuming they come walking back through the gates,
Is what?
toss an orc skull to that dwarf with the orc skull.
There we go.
Man,
There we go. All right.
I'm so sad about you so hungry to kill orcs.
Well, we'll
it
see.
makes James sad.
Yeah.
Well, maybe this will be another Zone of Truth conversation.
Maybe.
In our future. With all the uncertainty going down, there's only one thing that we can count on to make us feel better with all of this uncertainty in the air, and that's giving away some swag. I'm taking it back. Each
Huzzah.
week, you, the watchers and runners, make the rundown warm and fuzzy with amazing comments and questions. Tonight's Belle of the Chat ball is I Am Robin Nicole. Who posted, I love the way they use Dondo like a TaskRabbit for Circle of Truth. Watch your inbox for instructions on how to get your piece of awesome t-shirt couture home. Congratulations. Now, creativity of all kinds deserves swag. Take a look at this fan art by Chris Fifth Rate Sheets.
Oh, I haven't seen
yeah.
that.
I haven't either.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
That is beautiful. The color is amazing.
I know, that makes it really pop. I love it. Great job.
Yeah, great job.
So, guys, by adding your personal touch to each week's rundown, Dungeon Run swag is as good as yours. Make sure to post a comment to chat during the live stream or upload your Dungeon Run fan art to the dungeonrun.fandom.com. Who doesn't want a fancy new t-shirt? Am I right? Now, 60 minutes, 2 heroic crusaders, a couple of fancy teas, and 1 fantastic piece of fan art equal a stellar rundown. Special thanks to Morgan Peter Brown and Ron Ogden for
Thanks,
being
everybody.
on set tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Do you guys have any final words to leave our audience with this evening?
Feel better. I hope you feel better.
Wait, me? Could you tell? How?
But no, I mean, I'm so proud of the show, and I was very proud of last episode, and I can't, you know, every week I'm just sort of like, all right, when's it Wednesday again? Let's do this.
Only thing I have to say is hug your loved ones. Make sure every day you tell them you love them. Maybe the last day you see them.
Lots of hugs. Lots
Just
and lots
real.
of hugs and love, because
Yeah.
that's real.
Yep.
And of course, a countless round of thanks for you, the runners and watchers of the time stream. Be sure to tune in tomorrow and every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific for the latest live episode of The Dungeon Run. Then every Tuesday, log into Caffeine at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard to soak up all the knowledge, conversation, and fun that you can handle with the actors of your favorite live-action D&D game, both only on Caffeine.
Yay.
This is The Dungeon Rundown, and I'm your host, Trisha Hershberger. See you next week.